Mr. Chairman, I appreciate this opportunity for the subcommittee to consider the importance to our Homeland Security enterprise of an active and broad partnership between DHS and the private sector. Secretary Johnson observed earlier this year, government does not have all the answers or all the talent, emphasizing his belief that responding to Homeland Security threats must be a partnership between government and the private sector. I also thank the chairman for scheduling this hearing as the committee prepares to consider legislation to reauthorize many elements of DHS operations, including headquarters functions within the subcommittee's jurisdiction, among them the department's private sector office. Mr. Chairman, as this subcommittee saw during our last hearing in this past April on the department's oversight of major acquisition programs, one can scarcely overstate how much communication between the department and contractors with respect to acquisition requirements can affect the cost and performance delivered by multi-million-dollar programs for our Homeland Security. By creating the Joint Requirements Council in June of 2014, Secretary Johnson has taken steps to ensure that the department speaks to industry coherently about each set of program requirements, and to ensure that all requirements for acquisition across the department reflect a consistent set of priorities in terms of cost and capability. I appreciate your continued interest, Chairman, in the JRC, and I look forward to working with you to review and enhance the JRC as a decision-making center for the department's senior leaders. I look forward to hearing testimony from Mr. Tutonis and Mr. Pearl, and I appreciate the efforts of business leaders to provide Homeland Security policymakers with the benefit of their management experience. I also look forward to hearing testimony from former Undersecretary Duke, whose career in the defense acquisition workforce in the Office of the Secretary and DHS components, and now as a consultant to private sector organizations, enriches her perspective on how government agencies and the private sector can communicate and collaborate in the most constructive way. I very much appreciate any thoughts witnesses might have about the circumstances under which DHS might appropriately implement recommendations from the private sector, whether in terms of DHS adopting best practices used by the private sector firms to manage their businesses, or in terms of DHS promoting and maintaining contacts as allowed with firms working to provide goods and services employed by the department's operations. In addition, I hope that the hearing will also provide an opportunity for members and witnesses to tell us about specific instances of how private sector recommendations have fared at the department. Particularly because of this subcommittee's focus on management in the department and the committee's upcoming consideration of the reauthorization legislation, this hearing affords members a chance to consider the importance of agencies like DHS casting the net widely as they collect recommendations from the private sector, making sure that DHS and its components recognize the critical contributions of small and other traditionally underrepresented businesses. As noted in the 2010 report of the Interagency Task Force on Federal Contracting Opportunities for Small Businesses are leaders in innovation and drivers of the economy. Small businesses hold more patents than all the nation's universities and largest corporations combined, and create 2/3 of all private sector jobs, employing half of all working Americans. Studies of innovation have pointed to several policy initiatives designed to foster contacts between small firms and DHS, but which would benefit from renewed emphasis and attention, such as the Authority for Private-Public Cooperative Research and Development Agreements, or the Small Business Innovative Research and Business Technology Transfer Programs coordinated by SBA, but also operating through the Department of Homeland Security, advanced research projects, certain DHS authorities under the provisions of the Safety Act of 2002, etc. I look forward to our witnesses sharing their views on how these and other mechanisms might enhance opportunities for small and underrepresented businesses to contribute to Homeland Security and economic security. So, Mr. Chairman, even at a time of wide-ranging threats and constrained resources, cooperation between government and the private sector remains a critical resource for thinking efficiency and enhanced mission effectiveness. I also believe that Congress should ensure that DHS's reauthorization language makes sure that the department receives industry recommendations offering the greatest breadth, the newest thinking, and the greatest economic multipliers by highlighting collaborative opportunities for small businesses. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back the balance of my time.